Voice-to-Skull, V2K, Technology in Films, The Signal, 2007, Invasion, 2007, and Cell, 2016. By Paul Michael Bales, 7th August 2025. 1 Introduction. Voice-to-Skull, V2K technology, also known as the microwave auditory effect or synthetic telepathy, refers to the transmission of sound or voices directly into a person's mind using pulsed microwave frequencies, bypassing traditional auditory pathways. This phenomenon, first documented by Allan H. Frey in 1961, has been explored in military research and is a subject of controversy due to its potential for psychological manipulation and ethical concerns. The films The Signal, 2007, Invasion, 2007, and Cell, 2016, incorporate themes related to V2K-like phenomena, depicting mysterious signals or transmissions that alter human behavior or perception. This document analyzes how these films reflect or parallel the concept of V2K technology and its implications. 2 real-life examples in Norfolk, England. The cases of Alexander Palmer, 2017, Ashley Francis, 2024, and Bartlomiej Kuczynski, 2024, in Norfolk, UK, provide real-world parallels to the themes of V2K and psychological manipulation depicted in The Signal, Invasion, and Cell. These individuals, diagnosed with mental health conditions, reported or were associated with experiences of auditory hallucinations or confusion that led to violent acts, with speculative links to V2K or electronic harassment. While officially attributed to mental illness, these cases resonate with the film's portrayals of external signals, inducing destructive behavior. Alexander Palmer, 2017. On August 5, 2017, Alexander Palmer, a 24-year-old former soldier, murdered 83-year-old dog walker Peter Wrighton in Woodland near East Harling, Norfolk, by stabbing him. Palmer, diagnosed with schizophrenia, reported hearing voices named Alex and Little Alex that urged him to harm or kill strangers. He was under the care of Norfolk and Suffolk NHS Foundation Trust, NSFT, from 2015 to 2017, but was discharged and not monitored at the time of the murder. His parents had warned NSFT about his knife collection and noncompliance with medication, but these concerns were dismissed. Palmer was sentenced to life imprisonment in 2018 with a minimum term of 24 years. The voices he described align with the concept of V2K, where external signals could theoretically induce auditory hallucinations, similar to the manipulative transmissions in The Signal and Cell. The film Invasion also parallels this case through its theme of external control overriding personal agency. Ashley Francis, 2024. On February 29, 2024, Ashley Francis, aged 27, stabbed his 81-year-old grandfather, Mervyn Francis, in the neck at his home in Hockwold, Norfolk. Francis, diagnosed with a major mental illness, was psychotic and hearing voices at the time of the attack. His mental health had worsened due to inconsistent medication use, despite his close relationship with his grandparents. After the incident, Norwich Crown Court found him not guilty by reason of insanity in March 2025, based on unanimous psychiatric evidence, and issued a hospital order in May 2025 under the Mental Health Act. The voices Francis reported mirror V2K-like phenomena, where external signals could hypothetically induce commands, akin to the mind-altering signals in The Signal and Cell. The loss of emotional control in Invasion also reflects the psychological distress Francis experienced. Bartlomiej Kuczynski, 2024. On January 19, 2024, Bartlomiej Kuczynski, aged 45, was found dead alongside his sister-in-law, Kanticha Sukpeng-Panau, 36, and his daughters, Jasmine Kuczynska, 12, and Natasha Kuczynska, 8, at a house in Allen Bedford Crescent, Costessey, Norfolk. All 4 died of stab wounds to the neck. The deaths of Sukpeng-Panau and the 2 girls are treated as murders, while Kuczynski's death is not considered suspicious. Kuczynski, a patient of NSFT, had a history of mental health issues and was taken to Norfolk and Norwich University Hospital on December 14, 2023, after a missing person report. He discharged himself after being assessed as having mental capacity. On the morning of the incident, Kuczynski made a 999 call at 600 GMT, expressing confusion and concerns about his mental state, mentioning he was walking with a knife and had lost the plot. The call handler, trained under the Right Care, Right Person scheme, advised him to contact NHS 111, and no officers were dispatched. An hour later, a neighbor's call prompted police to discover the bodies. While no direct reports of auditory hallucinations were confirmed, Kuczynski's mental confusion and distress suggest possible parallels to V2K-like phenomena, where external signals could theoretically induce disorientation or commands, similar to the chaotic signals in the signal and cell. The theme of lost autonomy and invasion also aligns with the psychological distress in this case. An external review by Professor Hilary McCallion and a joint domestic homicide review by NHS England are ongoing, with a full inquest anticipated in 2026. These cases highlight the devastating impact of mental health crises, whether caused by diagnosed conditions or, as some speculate, technologies like V2K. The film's depictions of signals driving individuals to violence or loss of autonomy amplify real-world fears about such technologies being used covertly, as discussed in reports of electronic harassment. 3 film summaries and V2K connections. 3.1 The Signal, 2007. Plot summary. The Signal is a science fiction horror film set in the city of Terminus, where a mysterious transmission broadcast through electronic devices, televisions, radios, and phones, drives people into violent, irrational behavior. The signal causes paranoia, hallucinations, and loss of self-control, leading to chaos and murder among the affected population. V2K connection. The film's central premise of a signal manipulating thoughts and behaviors mirrors V2K's alleged ability to transmit auditory messages or influence cognition. The transmission in the signal operates similarly to how V2K is described in military contexts, using electromagnetic waves to induce psychological effects without physical devices. The film's depiction of widespread societal disruption reflects fears of V2K as a tool for mass psychological warfare, as discussed in sources like the Federation of American Scientists' report on non-lethal weapons. Key themes. The film explores loss of autonomy and the vulnerability of the human mind to external manipulation, echoing concerns about V2K's potential to infringe on privacy and mental well-being. The chaotic behavior induced by the signal parallels reports from self-identified targeted individuals, TIs, who describe anxiety and paranoia from V2K-like experiences. 3.2 Invasion, 2007. Plot summary. Invasion, a science fiction thriller and remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, centers on an alien fungal infection that spreads through human contact, altering people's minds and emotions. The infected become emotionless and conformist, controlled by a collective alien intelligence that communicates telepathically, creating a hive mind effect. V2K connection. While Invasion does not explicitly depict electromagnetic transmissions, the concept of an external force manipulating human consciousness through a centralized, telepathic-like control system resonates with V2K's synthetic telepathy. The film's portrayal of a controlling intelligence aligns with concerns about V2K's potential use in psychological manipulation or covert communication, as noted in discussions of military applications. The alien communication in the film could be seen as a fictional analogy to V2K's ability to bypass normal sensory input, creating perceptions of external voices or commands. Key themes. The loss of individuality and emotional autonomy in Invasion reflects ethical concerns about V2K, particularly its potential to override consent and manipulate thoughts, as highlighted in discussions of its military applications. The film's hive mind dynamic also parallels fears of V2K being used to enforce conformity or control populations. 3.3 Cell, 2016. Plot summary. Based on Stephen King's novel, Cell is a science fiction horror film where a mysterious signal broadcast over the international cell phone network turns people into mindless, violent phoners. The signal, transmitted through mobile devices, rewires human brains, causing aggression and loss of rational thought. The protagonist, Clay Riddell, seeks to reunite with his son amidst the chaos. V2K connection. Cell directly parallels V2K technology through its depiction of a signal that manipulates human behavior via electronic devices. The film's signal, like V2K, affects the brain without requiring physical implants, aligning with descriptions of microwave auditory effects that induce auditory perceptions or behavioral changes. The concept of a broadcast signal controlling minds reflects concerns about V2K's potential for psychological warfare, as discussed in patents like US 4,877,027, which outlines methods for inducing sound perception via microwave frequencies. Key themes. Cell emphasizes the dangers of technological dependence and the vulnerability of modern communication systems to misuse, mirroring real-world concerns about V2K's covert applications. The film's portrayal of infected individuals acting as a coordinated group also echoes fears of V2K being used to create controlled or manipulated populations. 4. V2K technology, real-world context. V2K technology, rooted in the microwave auditory effect, involves the use of pulsed microwave radiation to induce auditory sensations in the human brain. Discovered by Allan H. Frey, this effect causes thermoelastic expansion in the auditory apparatus, creating the perception of sounds or voices without external audio devices. Military research, including projects documented by the U.S. Department of Defense, has explored V2K for applications like covert communication crowd control and psychological operations. Patents such as US 4877027, 1989, and US 3629521, 1971, describe methods for transmitting audio directly to the brain, supporting the technical feasibility of V2K. However, V2K is controversial, with claims of its use in electronic harassment often dismissed as delusional by mental health professionals, though some acknowledge the need for further investigation. Self-identified targeted individuals report experiences of hearing voices or feeling manipulated, which they attribute to V2K or similar technologies. These claims, while unproven, align with the psychological distress depicted in the films, where characters experience loss of control due to external signals. 5. Comparative analysis. Mechanisms of control. All three films depict external signals or forces that bypass normal sensory or cognitive processes, similar to V2K's mechanism of direct brain stimulation. The signal and cell explicitly use electronic transmissions, closely resembling V2K's microwave-based approach, while invasion uses a biological agent with telepathic effects, a more metaphorical parallel. Psychological impact. The films highlight paranoia, loss of autonomy, and societal disruption, mirroring real-world concerns about V2K's potential to cause anxiety, distress, or behavioral changes. This is particularly evident in The Signal and Cell, where characters become violent or irrational, and in Invasion, where emotional suppression creates a controlled populace. Ethical implications. Each film raises questions about consent, privacy, and the misuse of technology, reflecting debates about V2K's ethical challenges. Military interest in V2K for psychological operations underscores the fear of its weaponization, a theme central to these narratives. Cultural reflection. The films tap into societal fears of technology's overreach, particularly in the context of surveillance and mind control. Cell critiques dependence on mobile devices, while The Signal and Invasion explore broader anxieties about external forces manipulating human agency, aligning with discussions of V2K's potential abuse. 6. Conclusion. The Signal, 2007, Invasion, 2007, and Cell, 2016, serve as cinematic explorations of themes related to V2K technology, depicting signals or forces that manipulate human perception and behavior. While the signal and cell directly parallel V2K through their use of electronic transmissions, Invasion offers a metaphorical take through telepathic control. The real-life cases of Alexander Palmer, Ashley Francis, and Bartlomiej Kuczynski in Norfolk underscore the film's relevance, highlighting the devastating effects of mental health crises, whether from diagnosed conditions or speculative technologies like V2K. These films reflect real-world concerns about V2K's potential for psychological warfare, privacy invasion, and loss of autonomy, as supported by military research, patents, and accounts from targeted individuals. By dramatizing these fears, the films urge caution and further scrutiny of such technologies. Sources: BBC News, Eastern Daily Press, Norfolk Constabulary, Federation of American Scientists, Wikipedia, Microwave Auditory Effect, Medium, Exploring Voice-to-Skull Phenomena, Medium, The Harrowing Reality of V2K Harassment, Spoiler Alert, Voice-to-Skull Technology Report, ResearchGate, V2K and Electronic Harassment, U.S. Patent 4,877,027, U.S. Patent 3,629,521, The Guardian, The Independent, Norfolk Constabulary, ITV News, Anglia, Daily Mail, LBC, The Standard.